It's that like quick and easy. So everybody's got a good, strong everything. Okay. So welcome to the Business Buzz. This is our little podcast, vodcast, I guess you call it, because we record video. And today we've got Lynn Dion, right?
Yes.
Saying it correct. So it's Body Sculpting by Lynn. And you are the Lynn.
Yes,
And you brought somebody with you.
I brought Amber with me.
Amber. And so she's not only a client, but she's kind of the client that got it all started. So she wasn't even a client yet. You kind of like flipped it up on her.
Yeah, so she was just a friend. I went over there and did body sculpting on her, and she loved the results so much that she's messaged
like,
me the next day, and she's like, hey, I loved it. And I was like, hey, I got nothing to do tomorrow. Let me come back. And she's like, sure.
And then like it all starts.
Yeah.
So start back as far as you can recall. I mean, are you from Kingman? Are you from the area? How'd you get here? What's kind of your what's your story to being here? And then how does that involve into what you're doing now when it comes to body sculpting?
Oh my gosh.
I know it's kind of a long journey, but like
it was. Well, I came from California when I was 16. I got married. I moved to Kingman.
Young.
In 1990.
Wow,
Yep.
okay.
1990, I moved to Kingman, and I've been here ever since. And pretty much what got me going on the body sculpting is the fact that I just lost a whole bunch of weight, and I wanted to try to find a way to help strengthen my skin on my stomach. And I went to a salon, and she has one of these cavitation machines. And I said, what is that? She says, oh, it's for melting fat. And I was so intrigued on it. So I went home and I bought one, and I started doing it on myself, not knowing what it was all about or anything like that. Started doing it on myself, and then fast forward about 6 months, I went on a week vacation from work, and I was going up to Amber's house for coffee, and I said, hey, let me bring my machine, I'll do a treatment on you. And she's like, sure, let's do it. So
cool.
Pretty much in a nutshell, that's what happened as I started going to Amber's, and her first session was amazing. I went back to the second. She was floored. Actually, I remember your message. You told me that I was an absolute angel, that you never thought that you could lose your stomach without having surgery done.
Yeah, skin
on her stomach, because she had loose skin that we've been working on.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, you're so welcome. And then I went back on Monday, and that's when she told me, she said, you really should start your own business, because her exact words was, there's so many women out there that could really use your help.
Oh yeah. How fast did you lose that weight? What period of time was it over? And what'd you do to lose the weight? Because that's one thing I think that is important for people to know, is that it's not just one size fits all when it comes to weight loss, when it comes to skin tightening. Like you got to do other things too in your lifestyle. So you started on one end of it, which is you started doing something to lose all this weight.
Yeah, so I started on Ozempic about 2.5 years ago. As of today, 2.5 years ago, I started on Ozempic. And I started losing weight, and then I had to switch over to Mounjaro, and I started losing weight. Well, with that weight loss, my skin was getting loose, and I just had some stubborn belly fat that I couldn't get rid of.
Yeah.
So I started doing the sculpting on myself.
Wow. Did you? How much research did you do? Did you
None.
actually? Oh, you just kind of.
Actually, how she got started was she came over and she was sculpting, and that following week I had reached out to her and I said, hey, you need to get your certifications for this stuff, because I feel that if you are educated and do this in the right way, you're going to make a ton of difference for a ton of people, male, female. We all struggle with the same things.
Oh, yeah.
And so she started taking class after class after class after class.
It was a lot.
How many certifications do you have now?
9 of them.
Yeah, I was going to say your whole wall is like, there's like a whole wall of certifications.
I have 9 certifications from everywhere from radio frequency to yesotherapy. Yesotherapy is a cast with certain solution that I put on your skin, and then I cast you. And that helps tighten skin. We made a mess of Amber's bathroom one time. We got this cast everywhere. She said for weeks she was finding it in little nooks and crannies everywhere.
Yeah.
So, but I'm always looking for ways to have even better results. So I have good results as it is. The average person loses between 1 to 3 inches per session. And as long as you're eating right, doing a little bit of exercising, that helps me, that's helping you start to lose the inches and keep it off. Because
Right.
if you go home and eat a box of bonbons,
Yeah.
you're gaining it right back. But as long as
Yeah.
you're eating healthy and contributing, it stays off and it won't come back.
Yeah.
So with that, my last thing that I got certified in was mesotherapy, which is the white magic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If we would have found that to begin with,
Right.
that would have saved us so
Yeah.
much time.
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah, and that's just adding, and that's still using the red light on the.
That's
thing?
using radio frequency
So that's
sound
using,
waves.
okay, yeah,
to
and then the actual magic
implement.
is like a solution that it's using in conjunction with just the radio frequencies.
Yeah, so when you're using the radio frequency sound wave with the white magic, what it does is it pushes, the sound wave pushes that serum into your skin through your visceral fat. And then it works like a liquid lipo, and it just starts dissolving the fat. And like Amber said, as soon as we started using it on her, she's hooked.
Yeah.
That's one of her favorite treatments now.
Yeah, yeah, it was cool. I mean, so I did it, so now the world knows. So that's the secret. But it was really one thing that I was really impressed with was the explanation and the process that you go through. And it reminded me of like the very first massage I ever got in probably my mid-20s. I went to a really, really good masseuse, and she like had a checklist, and it was almost like you went to a doctor where like it wasn't just, okay, sit here and that's it. It was like, okay, we're gonna treat these areas, these are why, this is what I'm gonna be doing. It was extremely, thorough. And so was that part of your certifications, is not just understanding the products and the techniques, but also the working with the client? Is that part of the certification? Because it seemed like it was like you went to an academy and you're now helping, like a teacher, you're teaching us as they're going through it. So it was so much more comfortable because you understood it.
So it's funny you say that, because that's what now I'm pushing her for, is to hold her own weekend
Right.
workshops and teaching others in the area or whatever to do what she does.
Right.
Because I have.
But the techniques, like I've been to other sculptors before, and I've never gotten any results near what she's gotten. So
Yeah. So that's a pretty cool, unique thing, is going through that. So I mean, and you've probably given that type of walkthrough many times, but it feels authentic and new, when you're explaining it. It doesn't sound rehearsed. It doesn't sound,
No. So what the purpose of all that is, so when I'm working on my client, they're understanding what I'm doing. So they understand what I'm doing. So there was no training of like, okay, this is what you tell your clients.
Yeah.
All I do is I just do the rundown as I'm going through the steps.
Yeah.
And I love what I do, therefore that's why it seems so authentic, because of the fact that it's coming from my heart, and I love what I do. And I so look forward to the results every time. I get surprised as much as my client does.
Yeah.
When
Yeah, it
they
was
lose
cool.
3 inches or 2
Right.
inches.
Yeah, I think I was like 2.5 inches, and it was so noticeable just in the picture. And that was like what was cool, just to see exactly where it was losing it from, and also the explanation that you gave of like when you're killing off these fat cells, like you said, you could go and get new fat cells by creating it, or you can continue to try to eat better, exercise some, and keep those ones from coming back.
Yeah, I'll have clients.
What a difference.
I'll have clients that come on a weekly base because they're on a mission. They have so many inches that they want to lose and stuff. So when they come back and they've gone up an inch, and I'm like, how was your eating habits this last week? And then they just say, I went drinking all weekend, or they went and had pizza and stuff. And it's like, well.
Yeah. I know, you'd almost think that they have to like have like a meal plan sheet just in case.
Yeah.
So when
somebody likes in and out a lot.
Yeah.
Should maybe.
How many times have you saved a bride to fit into a dress or something like that? Has that happened a few times?
Yes, it happened just recently. Remember that last client that I was working on?
I need to get another inch off, or I'm not gonna.
Right. Well, what it was she had the wedding where you're nervous and you eat a lot when you're nervous, and that was what was happening to her. So she was gaining weight. Now follow me here. She was gaining weight but still losing inches on her stomach.
Oh gosh.
So where I was working on her, she was still able to fit her dress, but she gained weight from what she was eating.
Yeah.
So I was able to save her on that part where she was able to fit her wedding dress.
Yeah. Wow.
But she still gained weight.
Yeah, well, it goes other places.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure does. In and out.
right. Yeah, I know. Everybody loves, my wife loves that place.
Me too.
Yeah. We didn't have them back in Maine, so I was like super unfamiliar with it when I came out here. And everybody's like, oh, there's an In-N-Out up in Kingman. I'm like, what is that? Like, who cares? Like, oh, it's
Right.
like what we're known for, in Havasu. But
You can have it, just don't eat the bun.
right, yeah, right. And not every day.
It is the second healthiest fast food place.
I do believe that.
Yeah.
Fewer ingredients, natural stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, not a lot of like fillers and additives and all that stuff.
I mean, granted, I get the shake, but
Ooh, yeah. Well,
that's
so
where she
good,
comes
though.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I come back and I'm like, Amber, what happened?
Where'd you
oh,
go?
she's like, In-N-Out got me.
Yeah, it strikes again. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
3 or 4 times
Yeah.
a week.
So your goals with Body Sculpting by Lynn, so a couple things is that it's right now kind of like a side gig, but you're building it up, and you work for the corporate world in a
Yeah.
sense as a full-time thing. So where do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years when it comes to the evolution of Body Sculpting by Lynn?
Oh my word. I haven't thought about 3 or 5 years.
Yeah,
I
you
think,
gotta get out there.
Yeah, I think like only
months.
months in ahead. Yeah, exactly. I only think months in advance. So
Yeah.
my corporate world job, I absolutely love. I mean, Amber knows that for a fact. Like,
Yeah.
but would I want to quit that just to do body sculpting? I'm not quite sure right now. I
Yeah.
love what I do.
Right.
My body sculpting is my days off, my time off. And I enjoy that.
Yeah.
So right now that's
Yeah.
where I'm sitting right now is the weekends and the nights for body sculpting and
Yeah.
the daytime. I just do my daytime job.
Right. That's probably your thought process on the academy stuff. You're like, well, if you're not going to leave your job, then might as well just try to train other people to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
And keep
exactly,
keep
because
the
if
branding and
she could keep rebranding and just
Yeah.
branch out
yeah,
and teach the people here maybe some of the things she's learned over the last year,
right,
she would just better, even if they had their own business, she would just better that whole world
Yeah.
sense anyway.
right.
So definitely be an asset.
Yeah.
3
And
to
she-
5 years, I guarantee you she'll be able to do those things.
Yeah.
And she nailed it. It's the technique. It's the
Yeah.
technique. I can do something and someone else can do something the same exact mommy makeover.
Right.
And I'll produce 2.5 inches and they're like, how did I blow up? Well, I don't
Yeah.
know. Like you just
Yeah.
got to drain. You got to drain. You know, it's so
and
important.
that's a crazy thing too. Such a difference between surgery and non-surgical, which is what you do. And I think that that's something that people need to know. No pain whatsoever. I mean, it didn't feel like anything. Like the only thing that I thought was weird was the little radio frequency buzz in your ear.
Yeah.
But it's not so loud you can't stand it or anything. It's just like, wow, that is so crazy that it is like only in my ear and you can't actually hear it out loud. I just thought
Yeah,
that was,
I can't
but
never
no
hear it.
pain, no, like you literally can go right back to work. You could be like gone on a lunch break almost and do it.
Yes.
It does take a while sometimes depending on what service you're
True.
picking, but there's no like, oh, I need to recover for a day from it. So that's hugely convenient for us busy people, which everybody is nowadays.
And the crazy thing is, like with Amber, she had some loose skin. She lost a lot of weight as well. And she always had the loose skin.
I was 285 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And then over a 20-year span, of course, we're women, we fluctuate. And then now that I'm in my 40s, I finally balanced out, but I was left with about 8 inches of extra skin.
Right.
And I've always convinced myself that I would have to be cut out
Right.
or cut off or whatever.
Yeah.
And we started attacking that, and I now have less than a half an inch of skin.
Wow.
So
That's crazy, huh?
the key is
body's pretty resilient.
consistency. Yeah. And it's definitely a commitment, but if
Yeah.
you want to get rid of it without cutting it, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's still cheaper, even though it is a commitment, it's still cheaper than
Oh,
having
yeah.
the surgery done.
Right. Oh, yeah. It's super expensive.
And you get to
quoted
keep the
18.
shape of how much?
18.
Oh, mercy.
So this is definitely hands down way cheaper.
So when it comes to starting your own side gig, when you very first started doing it, and now that you would consider yourself an entrepreneur because that's what that is. What do you think the most rewarding moments have been, and what do you think the most difficult, hard things to do when you are your own boss on scheduling these, the services, the investment into it, the time into it, the heart and passion into it? What have been those peaks and valleys?
So the hardest part for this whole thing, and I think Amber will agree with me, is getting the word out. What is it? Like, what is body sculpting?
Right.
What am I doing? What am I offering? I mean, I can sit there and say all day, I'm going to use radio frequency sound waves to melt your fat and you're going to lose inches. But still, it's not connecting with my my clients that haven't come and seen me yet. So I think that's the hardest part, is getting the word out to show them what I'm doing is permanent. What I'm doing is going to help you lose inches, shrink your skin. That is probably the most difficult part right now, is just getting, what am I doing out there?
Right. What is it?
And then the most rewarding is like Amber. She's been my model through this whole thing. We got her skin under control. And then one thing I'm very proud of is her butt. I am very proud of her butt.
It's funny saying that out loud, hearing that.
Yeah, I know.
One thing I'm very proud
right?
of is her butt.
Right. Well, if you go and you get a Brazilian butt done,
Right.
there's a lot of upkeep with the Brazilian butt. You have to wear a pad when you sit down, like to kind of lift up off the seat so your butt's not smushed on the seat. So it's kind of like a funky donut per se that you have to sit on. So that's like your Brazilian butt. With what I do with my Brazilian butt, it's like a reverse suction. So it pulls it up into a cone, and then you put it on your muscles, whichever muscles I'm trying to focus on, and it will flex on those muscles as if like you're doing squats. So over time, it's helping build the butt, and you're getting more of a round peach butt versus a flat, or if you have the, what do you call those?
Hip dips.
Hip dips. Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah,
hip
yeah,
dip.
yeah.
So that's when your hips kind of go in.
Concave.
Yeah, and
shape.
working on Amber, I got her a really nice butt with her help as well. With her help as well.
Granted, I mean, that's definitely the boost, but as it does suction and develop the muscle like you're squatting, you have to still maintain that at least a couple times a week.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that's a simple, just maybe 5 minutes a day at home.
Right.
Some yoga.
Yeah, and that's another thing that's important to explain, I think, is that body sculpting isn't just for one specific area.
It's all.
You can treat any area that they're having trouble with. And that's something that I think that I didn't really realize, a while ago before I started working with aesthetic clients. Like, you always think of just, one area, your stomach area. But like, you gain weight anywhere, and like, you worked on legs before, you worked on, like you said, the butt, arms, and like when you lose weight, I know that skin is sitting there now. So like, so it's really wherever they need it is something that you can do.
I think one of the most shocking moments was when we were doing Mike's neck.
Yes.
And it tightened up his neck, and even
like actually a different appearance almost.
Yes. And
That's cool.
he's 59. So as you age, I mean, gravity's not kind to us.
No, it's not.
And so to be able to tighten that up and not have the turkey neck, I guess as they call it, just one treatment alone.
Wow.
I mean, if you had like not the results you wanted, within 2 to 3, you would have exactly what you wanted for sure.
And he was very excited.
I know, I always tell people that she does from head to ankles, because I wouldn't know about the feet, but...
I don't think I can do feet.
I don't know if you
I haven't tried feet yet.
That'd be different.
Yeso them, I guess.
Stick them in the concrete stuff.
But yeah, I can do like cellulite on legs. Like when they have cellulite on legs, there's certain treatments that I do. Now, the cellulite on the legs, that's a little more aggressive. I'm using that vacuum therapy on a solid suction with some oil. And I'm just going back and forth. So it's not the most pleasant, because what I'm trying to do is break up that fat. So if you can imagine mesh, and then your fat comes through the mesh, that's your cellulite per se. I know I have weird ways to explain everything, right? The pool and the balloons, right?
Right, yeah, that's right, yes.
So when your fat comes through, you gotta cut that off.
Yeah.
So when you use your vacuum therapy, you're breaking it down.
Right.
And then I have the wood tools that I use. And between the wood tools and the vacuum, that's what helps reduce the cellulite on your legs and butt.
Yeah. Wow. And have you noticed, because this has been your first year of doing this, right?
Yeah.
So have you noticed, I guess you're just kind of haven't really seen the seasonality of it yet, so you don't really know, like, is winter going to be busier, summer going to be busier, spring, you haven't dealt with spring yet? You kind of were started right at the end of spring? Or
we started in April is when we started.
Right in the heart of it all.
Yeah. So I've had some down times, like around Christmas time, November, December. It's a little tough right now. I have a few people that are coming that are excited for their packages and stuff like that. But yeah, I've had a lot of peaks, and I think I'm hitting a valley right now.
Right.
But it's to be expected because of holidays. And there's other people who do work similar to mine that also are having a tough time right now. But I try to keep my rates low enough to where it's feasible for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
It fits in a teacher's budget to a doctor's budget. I don't change my rates for anybody. It's straight across the board.
Yeah. And I think coming into a new year, because this show will come out probably in about a week. So the new year is the big thing when people are starting to like
New year, new me.
the
That's what you always say.
yes, the resolutions of what are they going to start doing. So this is like a perfect time for people to like think about doing this and start scheduling and stuff like that. So because like you said, you're doing it nights and weekends, so you'll get booked up quick.
Yes.
Based on that.
So usually I'm 2 to 3 weeks booked out.
Yeah.
I mean, Amber would take me out on the lake in the summer, and I would have to book out.
We had to book out for months. Months, like 4 months ahead of time.
Yeah.
Dang.
And if she had like a lot of people in demand, she's like, "Well, just schedule it for the end of the summer." I think she went out twice.
Yeah, I only
The
got
whole
to
summer.
go. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
She took me to what is that? The Hoover Dam on the
Oh,
lake.
cool. Yeah,
so
yeah,
that was
yeah.
one whole day. I
Oh,
couldn't
yeah.
do anything.
Right.
So to me, I'm like, oh
You're
man,
gonna miss out on all this,
Yeah.
but you gotta have fun though.
Yeah,
You
and
gotta
it's
make it
always a
worth it.
blast.
Balance.
But last was it 2 years ago? We spent the whole summer on the lake. This year I got to go out twice.
Yeah.
So that was horrible. I was sad, but I loved my clients. So.
Yeah, that's the sacrifices that people make that you don't realize. It always sounds good when you're like, oh, I got a side gig, I got a side hustle, I'm starting a business, and it's like, well, do you know what that really means? Like,
no days off.
No, yeah. 14. I've been doing it for 14 years, and I tell you, man, like peaks and valleys are real, and the not having holidays and like vacations and things like that, where it's just like, and working no matter where you are, whenever it is, like you just don't get that time off. But it is rewarding, like I think of entrepreneurship a lot like artists. And like when I build websites, whatever I'm doing, it seems like there's a creative process with it, and I think that when you're working with your clients, it felt like that. It felt like it was a creative process. You knew what you were doing, you were explaining it so well. And then during that, you start to get these feelings every once in a while, and you start to maybe hear a little bit of talking and chatter, so explain what's been going on.
My God.
Once you started cracking open all the radio frequencies.
My God. Okay.
What happened?
Oh, mercy, Lord.
Because this is
He
the
did not
interesting
just go
part.
there.
Yes.
My God.
Because it's interesting.
This is the stuff that, that was really cool. And at first, when you first started explaining it to me, like, I was like, I guess it makes sense. And I've always been a huge fan of that type of stuff.
Wow.
My wife is very much a believer. I remember when I was a teenager, I was watching the Crossing Over with
John Edwards.
John Edwards, and I was just always blown away by it. And then, of course, the Long Island Medium, and just blown away by her. And so, and there's always believers and non-believers, and that's fine, And so you have started to find this. So kind of explain what happened.
So
the red light.
What happened is I was working on a lady's neck area. Mm-hmm. So she had loose skin, kind of like how I was working on Mike. Nothing ever happened with Mike. But with this lady, the lights were down. Mm-hmm. I had some music on, and I was just working on her neck, trying to tighten up the skin. And I heard in my head, tell my mama I'm proud of her. And I'm thinking, Lynn, why are you talking like that? Like, that's weird. Like, stop. You're weird. So then I went to the other side of her body, working on her neck, and I heard it again. And I said not so nice things to myself because I was being stupid. Like, why are you doing that to yourself? That doesn't make sense. This is a new client. You don't know her. You've never met her before. Why are you saying that? So with that, I went back on the other side for the third time. It came through again. And I was like, okay, I have to tell you this because something in my head keeps saying it. So I'm going to tell you. And she says, that's my daughter. She was murdered in California. And I was like, oh my gosh. She goes, she comes around all the time. And I was like, what? It was like as if she had, coffee with her this afternoon.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks later, she rescheduled again. And I was like, oh, I hope I hope nothing comes through. I hope I don't make, weird
I don't want to
things
make
in my
it-
head,
yeah, yeah.
So I heard, Isn't My Mama Beautiful? As I'm working on her, I was using like a little gua sha, which takes like extra fluid off of your face. It's just like what do you call it? A gua sha. It's like a stone. Thank you. It's like a stone, and you just like push the extra fluid out of your face. So anyway, so I'm doing the gua sha on her face, and I hear, Isn't My Mama Beautiful? And I was like, oh, Lynn, don't you start this.
Yeah.
Don't you start this again. So I went on the other side, nothing, came back again, same exact spot, said it again. And I was like, your daughter's back, and she's saying, Isn't My Mama Beautiful? I was floored. We had a really good conversation, and then I hear, Tell my mom I'm holding her hand. And I was like, nope, I ain't saying nothing.
I'm out.
Yes, exactly. So as she's paying for her session and stuff, I said, oh, by the way, your daughter said she was holding your hand while you were laying on the table. Because I just I didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
So when my next client came, I was kind of like, wow, you'll never believe what just happened, blah, blah, blah. When that lady came back the next week, she says, I'm not opposed to the lights being off and the music on. Well, to me, that's kind of like how I, I open up the door to the spirits to say, it's time, come on in, I guess. I didn't know anything at the time. So right away, lights go off, music's on. I'm trying to body sculpt her. I'm using the radio frequency sound waves. And I hear, Tell her I'm with her when she's crying for me at night. And I'm like, what? What? Like, it doesn't come that quick, Lynn.
Yeah.
Shut up. Like, and it said it again, and I looked over at her, and I said, he said he's there with you when you cry for him at night. And she starts crying, and I'm like, can you validate that? Like, I'm saying to that in my head, like, I don't know why you're crying. And she says, yes, I do cry for him at night. It's my husband. He passed. I'm getting married, and I'm not sure if it's okay with him that I'm getting remarried.
Yeah.
So with all that, 1 hour and a half later, we spoke to her husband, we spoke to her mother, and we spoke to her father, all verified.
Wow.
I said, oh my God. I then show up at Amber's house, because this is my go-to girl, let me tell you.
Keep in mind, this has been like a 2.5 month thing that she went like rogue. Like, hey, what's up? Fine. And then she showed up to my house, and I'll let you explain it.
I don't know how much you want me to say,
You
though.
can say all of it. It's
Okay,
fine.
thank you.
Totally
so
okay.
Amber's session was beyond flooring. I was telling her all this exciting stuff that's happened to me, and she says, oh, do me. And I'm like, oh, it doesn't work like that. I just can't turn it on and off. And she's like, well, let's just try.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. So I go to get the glycerin to put it on her neck, and I hear, Uncle, and I'm like, shut up, Lynn. It doesn't happen like that. Just stop, okay? Just stop right now. So I'm working on her neck, and I said, oh, I'm sorry, Amber. There's just really nobody coming through. And then right there, it was like very strong. Uncle, and I was like, okay, Amber. There's an Uncle, and she says, I have a Uncle Martin.
Monty.
I always call him Martin because I try to switch the names because I don't want to use the actual names when I tell the story. You're so cute. So I said, Monty, there's a strong T. Oh my gosh. So are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going about my trying to tighten her skin, just working with the red light frequency. And I say, ooh, he wasn't a nice man, was he? And she's like, no, he wasn't. I right then teleported back. I'm now a little girl in a bed. I'm like 5 years old laying in a bed. And this man is coming up over me. And I didn't know if he was coming up over me to grab me or get on top of me. But I started screaming, and I grabbed Amber by her shoulders. She remembers this. Now, she's here in a bathing suit because I'm doing her body sculpting, okay? Yeah. And I am crying. There's bodily fluid falling on my friend.
No.
As
Good thing I'm your friend.
Yeah. I'm screaming, did he hurt you? Did he hurt you? As these crocodile tears are falling on her, and she's grabbing my forearm. She's like, Lynn, it's okay. I'm okay. Can I say? Mm-hmm. It was my sister. He came and took her out of the bed to take her into the living room to do something bad to her. And my dad intervened. I said, and the whole time, Monty is like with his hands up saying, tell her I'm sorry. Tell her I'm sorry, as he's kind of like ducking down, running away. And it freaked me out. Well, come to find out, once we talked to our friend Amy said because Amber and I are so close that her spirit allowed me to see that just because now I know how to control that if it was to happen again. So I needed that shock factor, and her spirit knew I needed that.
Amy's her mentor towards this
Oh, yeah,
spirit
okay.
world stuff.
Yes.
So,
Right.
Yes.
because I have no knowledge.
Yeah.
I'm just the supporter saying, okay, let's see
And the guinea
this.
pig, apparently.
Yeah,
She is
me,
always
do me.
guinea pig for
Always.
everything.
Yeah.
Would
So,
you be a real friend if you didn't
I know,
allow
right?
it?
Yeah.
so can I talk about the baby?
Sure.
So then I knew that she had a miscarriage, but I didn't know anything about it. I mean, it's just something you just don't talk about.
Right.
So then I kept saying, I see 2 babies. She goes, no, Lynn, there was 1. I said, but I see 2. No, Lynn, there's just 1. Well, then her friends from high school or school came through. There was 2 of them coming through talking at the same time, validating. And she's like, yes, there was 2. Yes, that's how that one passed. Yes, that's how that one passed. And I was like, oh, my God. And then the one left, and she goes, I know. I told him to go home because his wife is still mourning for him. And I was like, what? The other one who stayed, can I say? He says, Amber liked me. Amber really liked me. And I look over at her, and I'm like, did you like him? And she's like, yeah. I was like, oh, my God.
How funny.
So then the baby comes back again. And I'm like, well, we've already identified it's 1. Why are we seeing 2? So then I started like not chanting, but just kind of like going over like 2 twins, Gemini, May. Did you miscarry in May? And she said, yes. I was like blown away.
Oh, yeah.
So right after
That's
that, I made
crazy.
an appointment with Amy Wade, and I said, I need 2 hours. I don't care how much it is. I need 2 hours of your time right now.
Yeah.
So she got me in
Wow.
like about a week later, and she said, I told her everything that I just told you guys, and she said, Lynn, you fell into your mediumship, and the body sculpting was your stepping stone to
Isn't that crazy?
mediumship.
Yeah, it is crazy, especially when she comes over to her friend's house who's known her for 13 years, and then all of a sudden, and so I was like, okay, well, if you can pull out, because you only know 2 people in my life, like close, that would pass. So if you can pull out some random uncle.
Right.
And she did.
Yeah.
But what's even crazier is she was able to pull it, someone I'm close to, my sister, through me for her.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it works in some strange ways.
Right.
But
And that's like where a lot of people who are skeptics, you know, they're the ones that when that happens, you know, like were you like kind of skeptical at first, like this maybe it's just a coincidence or something.
I was like, there's 3 people on my list. She pulls them out. I'm going to say, nah, keep trying. And none of those came through.
Yeah.
It was the random uncle. It was
Right.
the random friends. One of my friends who just passed 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And
Your baby. The baby told me that he was a boy, that he was older than her daughter, and
so
that he was
my
tall.
2 kids.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. But it gave me some, like, I don't know, peace with a lot of that, and knowing that you can really communicate.
Yeah.
And maybe they have things to say to us, maybe
Right.
not us say things to them so
Right.
much, but
Yeah.
a lot of peace there because I
Yeah.
had a crowd.
Yeah. And that's like, so that potentially is another thing that you're going to, I mean, you have been doing.
I have been
now.
doing. I've read
embracing it and you're
30. I've read 32 people.
Yeah.
One person I could not read. There was 2 people I could not read, but I redone myself with the one and knocked her on her butt real quick. But the second one, I never went back and revisited her. But when you put that wall up, like you just don't want to hear. And the lady wasn't even supposed to be at the group reading. She just showed up. But she already had that wall up to begin with. But I don't think that anybody has ever showed up. And the other day, the real funny thing is I was doing a reading on somebody the other day, and I said, I did say a lost baby, but when we identified it wasn't a lost baby, I said 4 boys and then health. and she couldn't put those together. So how it ended up finding out, because I was like, all right, scratch that out. Oh, the grandma, you weren't close to her. She shouldn't be coming through. Cross her out. I'm crossing all this stuff out. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, I've never been this off. You're my, 33rd person, and I've never been this off. Come to find out, she has 4 boys. Her daughter is very unhealthy.
What the heck? Oh.
I said, what?
Yeah.
And then the grandma, she was really close to the grandma, and then how her grandmother departed, she's holding that
Right.
inside her right now. So I was like,
These are, and I think that was one thing I remember I used to, when I was watching that Crossing Over with John Edwards thing, is like sometimes there would be like it seemed like a misconnection, and they would do a follow-up. The producers would like try to reach back out and say, hey, do a little research, and then all of a sudden it was just like, oh my gosh, there was a connection. I just didn't realize it during the reading. Because there's probably so much going on and anxiety of like what's going to happen, and like you said, there's probably expectations of certain people coming through, so you're focused on that.
Yes.
And then when something completely unpredictable comes up, maybe you're just not ready to remember that, or you can't, so that's cool. That's
right.
wow.
So where I thought I was bombing out on that, I was nailing it right on the head. But she was just too.
Yeah. Well, I was interested enough after you're like, oh, so there's a female, like, someone that's passed as female. And I'm like, no, not, there are, but I wasn't close to anybody. And I told my wife, and, it's like I said, she's very like, oh, this stuff is like, yeah. So I was adopted at birth. And so we just are filling out, I just printed it off, was it today?
Oh my gosh.
Today. Printed off the form to send in to the state agency to be able to release the information. So
wow.
we'll find out.
Cool.
So we're going to mail that off. Probably take a couple weeks, but that'll be interesting to see. That was always one of the reasons why, since I was 18, so I'm 42 now, so all these years, I never wanted to find out. And it was always because, like, in the back of my head, I was like, well, I look at everything like the pros and cons. I'm like a balancing thing. Like, what's going to come out of it that'll be good or bad? And is it worth taking that time and energy if it could be something bad? And I used to always think of all the bad things, like maybe she had passed away, maybe she's a drug addict and is going to try to take everything I have and come out. So I'm like thinking all these bad things, and all the good things are just like, well, maybe I have a brother or a sister or another family that would be really cool to connect with. And I just always just like let it go, because I was like, well, I would rather just not worry about whether it's good or bad and just kind of move on with it. But I'm getting to the age now and have young kids, where maybe it'd be important to know, because then I could get like health history, which I don't have.
Absolutely.
No idea if there's certain things in my family. So this is sparking that. So we'll find out in a few weeks and have a follow-up episode.
Right, yeah. I know. So the craziest thing about this is you don't have to be close to them.
Yeah.
They may not even have anything to say. I think was it your grandma or someone just came and they just made themselves known and had nothing to say? And she goes, oh, she wouldn't have. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't know why she's hanging out.
Right.
Should I be crazy and tell them about what happened, what I told you about today? Or do you think that's too far left field?
No, I'd save that one for another podcast.
You think so?
Yeah, because I think you could probably, I don't know, maybe start a series. I don't know. You got a lot of stuff. I think it would be.
Can I give a little hint? You think?
Sure, you can give a hint, but don't give it out.
I won't. I spoke to, how should I word it? You tell me.
President Eisenhower.
Yeah.
President Eisenhower?
I swear.
Whoa,
I swear.
Crazy.
Yes. Because,
He has a connection with somebody she knows. So
yes.
But each one of these can be.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think
keep
people
you
would
busy
love
for
to hear
days.
Yeah, for sure. Very cool.
And it's very intriguing things, especially how it happens and how, I mean, even though she's going through these changes, like she had pulled away because she's like, oh my gosh, I just don't know what to do with this stuff.
Yeah.
And then to finally get that guidance on, okay, this is what you do with it. And, what a blessing for her to be able to give people some closure and some peace of mind and stuff. So
those validation moments are just so big.
They're amazing.
So it's good that you weren't so afraid. You took something that some people might think, like you said, like, oh my gosh, there's no way I'm going to say it, and just never say it. You were just like, I'm going to say it.
Let's wing it.
Right. So this weekend, or this last week or something like that, I did a reading for a lady, and she had an abortion. And she's been struggling a little bit because she had that abortion. And I am not lying, that baby came through. the baby said that because they're not mad on the other side. They're not angry. That's all left here in the physical world. They don't take that with them. They don't take anger and hate and regret. They don't take all that over there with them. That's all left here. That's our feelings, not their feelings. So anyway, so she has all that. But the daughter came in and spoke to me. And I had another friend sitting in on this session, and she was recording it actually. And she said, Lynn, when you started bringing the baby through, your voice changed. Whoa. I remember it was almost like it went from me giving the message from the baby to the mother, from the baby now here. I'm one person now speaking. And pretty much the daughter came through, said that that she's not mad. It just wasn't her time, that it's okay. And she kept saying, Mommy, it's okay, Mommy. I'm not mad, Mommy. It just wasn't my time. And I don't remember. I have to listen to the recording because I don't remember anything else. After that, I don't remember.
How crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Right. As it develops, it just gets...
Yeah. But I was able to...
Good thing you have a mentor to help
working
you
out a
guide
muscle.
through
I
those.
know.
Yeah.
But I was able to describe what I see her daughter like. At that age, she wanted to come through at 6 years old, where Amber's son came through at like 17 and a half. 17 and a half. He was a tall boy. But so they come through how they want to show me.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah, is there, I don't remember which show, do they try to relate their message to something that you would understand, like so that you have context to what they're trying to, like let's say someone was coming through and it was something to do with a boat, and they would show you your boat or your boat you've been on, just so you know what they're talking about, or you know what I mean, like, or is it pretty clear where you are, because like you mentioned, like you almost teleported into their place, so you are visually understanding their environment versus them trying to have you relate to your own? Yeah,
so they come through in a lot of different ways. Sometimes, like in Amber's case and a couple other people, they physically teleport me. I physically was teleported and saw a murder. No joke, I swear.
Scary.
I swear, I saw the murder. I even told the lady, it's under my nails. The DNA is under my nails, under my nails. And she goes, yeah, they didn't do an autopsy on her. They just buried her. I'm like, it's right here, I know. Like,
oh my gosh.
But with that, I've never had anyone say, okay, the combination to the safe is,
the buried treasure is
no one's ever came through like that. It's just,
come on.
It's just more a validation that they're there.
Yeah.
I know about the beer shrine on the wall that you have, the ticking sound that you have in your car. You're a mechanic and you shouldn't have those ticking sounds. Fix it.
Wow.
It's annoying. That's kind of like the messages that I get is just validation of who they are, what they are related to you. If you had like a funeral for them, if there's something that they can point out, they'll point that out. If you had like kids together or whatever, sometimes they'll show me them hovering over them. So what that lets me believe is like they're protecting them. So they're like, their guardian per se, because they'll show me over their car. They'll show me behind them, like just walking behind them like that. So I say, because when they cross, they can, like your best friend, I'm going to come back and be your guardian, okay? So they can come back.
That's cool.
If allowed, they can be your guardian.
That's
so
cool.
your dad can be watching over your son. And that just happened just the other day. They showed me protecting.
That's cool.
They show me happy family. So they show me everyone's in the circle. I've never had, like I said, I've never had anybody come out and say, remember the time you went to the Bahamas and you were wearing that white shirt. I've never had that come through like that. It's just more the way that I'm at right now, I guess, is like, what do you call it, mediocre level or whatever, remedial
intro,
level. Yeah.
amateur level.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Or they're just like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool though.
If you can remember, whatever they say.
Yeah.
For me to be able to validate that this is them.
Right.
You have a friend who was in a vehicle accident. Who did pass, who was your high school friend. Yes, he's here.
Yeah. Have you had a lot of personal ones for yourself?
For myself, I was in the middle of reading one of my friends, and I said, okay, I have a gentleman here who committed suicide. She goes, no. I said, yes, he's a father figure. She says no. And I'm like, I know what I'm hearing. Yes, you did. Like, I'm like, yes, I know what I'm hearing. And then normally I never have names. I got a name. It was John. And I'm like, John? And she goes, no. And I said, oh my God, hold on. That's my father. Hold on.
Wow.
And I told my father, at a later date, we'll talk. I've never talked to him.
Wow.
But my sister has had her grandmother come through and show me that her father has passed away. She didn't even know it.
Oh, yeah, wow.
And then she researched it, and by the time I got from Bullhead to Golden Valley, she saw, yes, her father did pass away.
Wow.
You've had lots of different readings, but like I said, I think if you have that, I don't know, it's just calming and, you know, I got that peace and
Yeah, that's a good thing. Whenever someone leaves
yeah.
and it feels better,
Oh, yeah.
then, you know, it's a win.
They may have a rough time for a little bit.
Right,
And then once they get over that initial shock that, you know, your grandfather knows you have his hat.
Oh, yeah, we've had that one.
Yeah.
We've had that one.
Oh, how funny.
And when I was doing that one, I didn't even know because I was told no hat was going to be released.
All right.
So when I was told that he knows he has a hat, I was like, wait, what?
Huh.
And it was true. So
How funny.
to me, like it floors me going through this.
Right.
I mean, I'm just as shocked to say it as you are to hear it.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Well, very cool. Yeah, I'm excited for another more and more of these.
Yeah.
And you're scheduling these then in between everything else.
Yeah, so in between
people,
bodies, yeah.
People can say, hey, I would love to do one or both.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm able to do a body sculpting and a reading, which is really crazy.
And what's funny is when we do our, just coffee and fire nights, I have to remind her no sculpting and no spirits.
No spirits
Yes.
in sculpting.
Yes. So she
yeah.
does do that for me. She does. Yes.
You gotta have that peace too.
Yeah.
Sometimes your friends are there to help remind you, like you just need a downtime and just be you.
She has the most beautiful house, and I can look over all of Kingman from where her house is. And so doing body sculpting at her house, it's because I stare
I'm the only
outside
one
and
that she travels for.
yes,
Yeah, right?
yes,
That makes sense.
yes.
Yeah.
So when she says, okay, we're just going to have a fire, she'll
Yeah.
turn on her fireplace or throw the wood in.
Any spooky people walking
She'll
by?
put the
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he sets off my
she'll do
alarm every
the
night.
fire, and she will say, no readings,
Yeah,
and her
no.
husband's not wanting to hear any readings right
Right.
now. So I have to be very careful
Yeah.
with that sometimes because
Yeah.
it's like it just wants to come out.
Right.
And honestly, it's really depends on the person. If they're ready to hear it,
Right.
then they're more open to it. If
Yeah.
they're not, then
Right. Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Timing is important with that stuff.
Yeah,
No, you're good.
and I'm learning, don't just blurt it out,
Yeah.
because I've done that a couple times where I didn't mean to,
Yeah.
but I did because I'm so new.
Right. Yeah, you got to know when to say it.
Yeah.
Not to say it. Yeah.
But I'm not opposed to doing like a group reading, and we'll have this on if you
Yeah.
want,
Yeah, it'd
and
be
everybody
fun.
can watch it
That'd be
live.
really cool.
And
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
you could be here. Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
and
you could be
it's
here.
and Kingman's been known for even just stuff like the ghost hunter type people, or I can't remember the Mojave. What are they called? The Mojave ghost. I can't remember, but it's really well known. And they go through like the Brunswick and the
my
Beale, and
gosh.
they try to find these places and try to set up cameras and listen and spectrometers and all this stuff. So it's got a lot of, because we have a lot of Wild West, from 100 and something years ago, 150 years ago, where there was so many people going east to west in the United States during the gold rush period that there's been some just crazy things that have happened in Kingman that people don't even know about.
Yeah, so I love to go to Zach Vegas's Haunted Museum in Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
And let me tell you, oh my God. I didn't know back then what was going on. I know now. So looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is why I was feeling that way. Oh my gosh. But we've already lived at our house 2.5 years. We come back from the haunted museum, and pictures are falling off the wall that has 2 nails on each side.
Whoa.
It's just falling down. Just crazy stuff happens.
Yeah.
And it's like I had to finally say, we can't go back. We can't. Like, we had to stop
I'm
going
gonna have to
because
go
it's
there
so
now
wild.
at least once, just to hopefully they don't follow me home again like you.
It's
but,
wild. Yeah, every time we always bring something back. So this last time we were like,
yeah, maybe not.
just
Yeah,
we're,
there you go. Right.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, maybe you should start selling sage like bundles.
It's funny you say that because she used to.
There you go. Bring it back. Bring it back.
So I have a big sage bush in front of my house, and we were cutting it down, and it's a Texas sage. Okay?
Okay.
Well, you sage your house with like white sage
Right.
or different sages,
Yeah.
not the Texas sage.
Okay.
It didn't stink. It didn't smell bad. It worked just as good.
I didn't know there was different types.
Yeah, Amber's like, do you not know what you're selling everybody? I'm like, no, they bought it.
Texas sage.
Do you remember that?
As long as it smells okay. It may not smell exactly like the normal sage that people are used to. Well, whatever.
Yeah.
We're not normal here.
Right? Exactly.
Well, cool. Okay, so we'll wrap up this episode. People can visit your website or go to your
Yes.
Facebook. The website's Body Sculpting by Lynn D, so LYNND.com. Facebook, you can just search that on Facebook. You'll come across your stuff. They can text or call or Facebook message you or use the contact form on the website.
Yes.
If they want any type of services, the website has a lot of information about the different services that are there, but you're always running some type of promotion, I feel. So if you go to the website and you see some services that you like, make sure you reach out. That the price that you see might be the exact price, but I think going into the new year, there might be different prices that are
Yes.
happening. And certainly if you're doing multiple services and also
Yes.
if you're doing services over a long period of time, you do
Yes.
bundle type things where, you're going to do 10 sessions, so we're going to give you a little break
Yes.
on it over a period of time. So.
Yeah. So if they get so for every 3, I call it 3 packages. So for every 3 sessions that you book, so like just say every Wednesday for the next 3 weeks, you want to book. So I'll throw in like a white magic, or I'll
cool.
throw in a yeso, whatever you feel that you would like, or a free chin or whatever.
yeah.
So I'll always throw in something
Additional
extra.
services.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I never
Good.
have a problem hooking someone up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Because my whole goal with this is to help people.
Right.
I want to be able to help them.
Yeah.
So by throwing in that little added
Yeah.
extra,
Yeah.
it will help.
Yeah, for sure. Very good. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming. Thank you for bringing your friend and your guinea pig.
My guinea
always
pig with
the first.
everything.
And we have more episodes coming then, and we're going to probably tune into the spirits on these next ones, which would be
I think
pretty
that
neat.
would be amazing.
And you can share the story about going into the wallop pies maybe on the next episode.
Oh my God.
So
Oh my God.
you'll want to watch the next
Yes.
episode.
Oh my God.
Okay.
The wall of pies.
All right. All done. Thank you.